Welcome, everyone, to this explainer on the absolutely intricate art of building science fiction worlds. If you're a focused learner looking to uncover the secrets behind your favorite speculative stories, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're decoding the technical and narrative demands of the sci-fi genre and uncovering exactly how writers craft entire universes from scratch.
Right off the bat, let's look at this phenomenal quote from speculative fiction editor Alistair Thompson. Science fiction is just a cloak draped over what all fiction aims to do: tell human stories of love, loss, ambition, and tragedy. I mean, that completely reorients how we think about science fiction, doesn't it? No matter how alien the landscape, no matter how advanced the spacecraft, the beating heart of sci-fi is always human drama. Keep that in the back of your mind as we explore these vast universes together.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The blueprint of reality. 2. Constructing the stage. 3. Casting the cosmos. And finally, 4. The human core. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The Blueprint of Reality, Establishing the Grand Rules of the Universe.
Okay, so every single sci-fi writer has to figure out exactly where their story lives on the scientific spectrum. On one end, we've got hard science fiction. This is grounded in rigorous, plausible scientific laws and really accurate tech. Think of Andy Weir's The Martian. Keeping that character alive relied on literally crunching accurate math and botany. But then, on the flip side, we have soft science fiction. This focuses way more on narrative possibilities and social commentary over strict realism. A classic example is Ursula K. Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness, which uses a wildly different planetary society to explore gender and politics rather than strictly focusing on, how the spaceship engine works.
And it's actually because of this depth, this drive to build plausible worlds, that science fiction is a subject of serious academic study. Professional astronomers and astrophysicists regularly engage with speculative narratives. Actually, a recent study showed a massive percentage of professional astronomers cite sci-fi as the very thing that inspired their career choices. Whether it's hard or soft, these stories let us push the absolute boundaries of human potential.
But, where does a really great science fiction world actually begin? Well, it almost always starts with a highly speculative premise, a massive what-if. Like, what if we could clone dinosaurs from ancient DNA? We all know that one from Jurassic Park, right? It's an incredible scientific premise, but as our literary experts point out, that question alone isn't going to carry a whole story.
Because a premise is kind of nothing without this vital follow-up question. And then what would happen? That is the prompt that forces a writer to dig into the social, political, and ethical consequences of their what-if. Sure, we clone the dinosaurs, but who controls them? Who makes the money? What happens to the folks trapped on the island when the security systems fail? That right there, that is where the actual story lives.
Moving on to Section 2, Constructing the Stage, from grand physics to functioning societies.
So, here are the 3 crucial steps to really nailing your world building. 1. Pinpoint the scientific premise. We just talked about that. 2. Imagine the society and its history. To make an immersive setting feel truly authentic, you've got to study real-life power structures. How does the ruling class validate their status? Is it through military might, economic control, or technology? And 3. Give your world fixed, consistent rules. I mean, if your tech runs entirely on solar power, it can't just magically work in a pitch-black cave, right?
I absolutely love this specific prompt from the Rochester Speculative Literature Association. Just imagine a society living inside a hollowed-out 50-kilometer-long asteroid fleeing the demise of their homeworld. Think about how setting severe limitations on resources and space instantly creates narrative tension. Like, what kind of society evolves when everyone is just trapped inside a flying rock traversing the literal gulf between stars?
But as you're building these incredible settings, you've got to be aware of what the underdog press calls hand-wavium. You want to avoid this at all costs. Basically, do not use magical or vague explanations to patch up plot holes, especially when crafting hard science fiction. If you introduce a scientific problem, you must address it with a scientifically plausible solution. Your readers are smart. They are definitely going to notice if you just wave your hand to make an inconsistency disappear. And when you actually sit down to write this world into your story, editor Ashley Warwick gives this fantastic advice. Add little world-building details into everything, everywhere. Give bits, pieces, and hints all over the place. Instead of dropping those massive, boring, encyclopedic paragraphs, the dreaded info dumps, just integrate your technology and lore naturally. Let the reader learn how a spaceship works by watching a character desperately struggle to repair it while under pressure. All right,
Section 3. Casting the cosmos, populating your world with iconic archetypes.
If you look at tabletop role-playing games and massive space fantasy franchises like Star Wars or Mass Effect, you're going to see a pattern of beloved archetypes. We're talking the ace pilot, the scoundrel or smuggler, the space wizard or technomancer, then you've got the psychic, the brilliant scientist or engineer, and of course the hulking alien brute. These are incredibly fun starting points that give your audience an instant shorthand for understanding who a character is in your universe.
But, and this is a big but, you have to beware the cliché. While archetypes are super useful, just recycling tired tropes without adding a fresh perspective is a surefire way to bore your audience. You need to build three-dimensional, nuanced characters with deep personal histories and fears. A scoundrel is just a trope, right? But a scoundrel who is secretly terrified of abandonment and constantly pushes people away to protect themselves, okay, now that is a three-dimensional character.
And this really highlights the ultimate balancing act of character creation. On one hand, you must focus on specific, relatable human details, the grit, the flaws, the day-to-day realities of your character. But on the other hand, you want to expand the boundaries of imagination by giving them wildly cosmic traits or dropping them into unbelievable alien environments. It's that exact contrast between the superordinary and the completely extraordinary that makes them pop.
Which brings us to Section 4, the human core, the beating heart of the science fiction narrative.
Let's introduce a really fascinating literary term from our academic sources, the Künstlerroman. Now, in the context of sci-fi, this refers to a narrative theme focusing on a character's deeply personal, often troubled evolution, set against a vast cosmic tapestry. Think about Paul Atreides in Frank Herbert's Dune. That story isn't just about massive sandworms and intergalactic politics. Fundamentally, it is about a young man's terrifying internal journey as he grapples with becoming a messianic figure. The cosmic scale just makes that personal growth feel so much more intense.
And this is especially true when we look at melodrama and space opera. Unlike the more clinical, hard science fiction, space opera absolutely thrives on high drama. The intergalactic challenges, the exploding planets, the laser sword fights, they're really just a dramatic backdrop for an intensely emotional roller coaster. The sheer scale of the universe simply amplifies the scale of the character's love, grief, and ambition.
Speculative fiction editor Rebecca Brewer sums this up beautifully. She advises writers, consider what's at the heart of your story once you take away all the technical details. Whether your protagonist is a clone, an android, or a space wizard, it's their morality, their choices, and their humanity that absolutely must drive the climax of the story. So let's synthesize everything we've learned today into this ultimate formula. Step 1. Start with an intricate speculative premise, your massive what-if, grounded in consistent world-building rules. Step 2. Add an intimate, complex human element, nuanced characters who have to actually grapple with the consequences of that premise. And step 3, by balancing the cosmic scale with the deeply personal, you achieve the perfect science fiction story. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If your science fiction world was stripped of all its futuristic technology and alien landscapes, what fundamental human truth would remain? Next time you read a sci-fi novel or watch a space epic, ask yourself that question, because at the end of the day, we don't just look to the stars to see what's out there, we look to the stars to better understand ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.